We're going to now look at determining angle measures using the cosine law. So we're going to look at a couple of questions dealing with that. So we're going to focus on applying the cosine law and explaining how to use it. So what is angle B in triangle ABC? Notice for this one that we have side A, we have side B, and we have side C. So we actually have all three sides in this triangle. This is an SSS triangle, which means that we can use cosine law. So to find angle B, the version of cosine law we're going to use is cos of angle B is equal to A squared plus C squared minus B squared all over 2AC. So whatever angle I'm looking for, I'm going to be subtracting the square of the opposite side in my cosine law. So I know all the side lengths. I'm going to put those values into my formula. So cos B is equal to 5 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 squared all over 2 times 5 times 4. So I'm going to solve the top and then separately solve the bottom. So 5 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 squared on my calculator works out to be 37. 2 times 5 times 4, that works out to be 40. So cos of B is equal to 37 over 40, which works out to 0.925. So cos B equals 0.925. To get B, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to get the inverse cosine, or cosine to the power of -1 of 0.925. Now make sure your calculator is in degree mode. That means we have either D or DEG at the top of our display, or if we're using a graphing calculator, we hit mode and make sure that the degree is highlighted. So what I'm going to do now, usually to get the inverse cosine, or cos to the power of -1, you're going to have to either hit second or shift on your calculator. So I type in second cos, gives me cosine to the power of -1 on my calculator, 0.925, and it tells me that B is equal to 22.3 degrees, which means my answer is going to be A, 22 degrees. That makes sense because 22 degrees is a very small angle. So we're saying this angle here is 22 degrees. Side B is the smallest side of my triangle. So it's likely going to have, well, it's going to definitely have the smallest angle opposite it. And 22 degrees is very likely the smallest angle in this triangle. Based on the diagram, most definitely should be. And 22 degrees is a pretty small angle, so it's very likely the case. If I found angle A and angle C, well, most definitely they're going to be bigger than this. So if I want to find the measure of half of the angle, sign didn't show up. If I want to determine the measure of angle A to the nearest degree, I'm looking for this angle right here. I'm going to have to call this little a, this little b, and this little c. I'm going to once again use cosine law because I know a side, and a third side. So I have a side, side, side triangle. So that means the cos of angle A is going to be, in this case, b squared plus c squared minus a squared divided by 2bc. Once again, my angle is A. What I'm subtracting is the square of side A, the opposite side. So I fill in my values that I know. B is 26, So 26 squared plus 31 squared, 31 squared, not degrees, 31 squared minus 55 squared, all over 2 times 26 times 31. That's cos A. So cos of A is equal to, I'm going to evaluate the top, the numerator, 26 squared plus 31 squared minus 55 squared, gives me a value of negative 1,388 divided by 2 times 26 times 31. 2 times 26 times 31 equals 1,612. So the cos of A is equal to minus 1388, or negative 1388, divided by 1,612, or 0.8610. To get A by itself, I'm going to need to do the inverse cosine again of 0.8610. So I put that into my calculator. For me, I have to hit second function. You might have a shift button. Very likely you're going to be shift or second function to get the inverse cosine. Make sure your calculator is still in degrees, D or DEG. So cos to the power negative 1 of 0.8610 to the nearest degree, I find that A is equal to 149 degrees. So angle A to the nearest degree is 149 degrees. So to summarize this section, the cosine law is used once again when we don't have a right triangle. We can find the missing angle measure of a triangle if we know all three sides, and we call this an SSS triangle, side, side, side triangle. The sine law, depending on which angle we're looking for angle A is cos A is equal to B squared plus C squared minus A squared divided by 2BC. Cos of B is equal to A squared plus C squared minus B squared all over 2AC. And cos of C is equal to A squared plus B squared minus C squared all over 2AB. And remember that whatever angle we're looking for, in our formula, we're subtracting the square of the opposite side.